Okay. So I feel like this is the first time I'm in doing this project of being vulnerable on the internet. This is the first time that I feel very nervous to record something. I knew that, doing this project, that being vulnerable is not just showing yourself when you're feeling good, but also talking about the process and the ugly parts as well. So stick with me here, 'cause I'm probably gonna be silent every once in a while. Oh my god, I keep kicking shit. I was thinking I would just do a Rubik's Cube while doing this, because that would keep me, I don't know, I need to be doing something, maybe stimming, but I think that would be bad for the sound. Maybe I should get a microphone or something. Okay, I'm kind of just going to be reading, because, I'll go off the top of the dome, but I feel like I had to write this stuff down, just because it's, I don't know, more intense than I'm used to, more vulnerable than I'm used to. Okay. So I was talking to someone recently about nurture versus nature, and this kind of, I want to start talking about, I guess, the idea of nurture, and I feel like, right, when you think of a child, they're so open. Like there's no cage. There's no filter. They're sort of unmolded. I have this drawing. Right, that's you. That's as a kid. Right, you could just go up to a stranger and say hey, what are your 7 favorite dinosaurs, and there's such a joy that comes with that, but at the same time you are being vulnerable, and you're subject to punishment, whether that be intentional punishment or just punishments that happen because of your actions, and through these punishments, this is supposed to be 2 hands molding you. But through these punishments, through reward systems, thousands of hands craft you into a self. Sort of just a self that you've developed in order to keep you safe. And of course, it keeps you safe. It stops danger from coming in and affecting you, but it also stops love and connection. And what if, right, there's this idea of well, I've made it so far. I've made it this far with this self. So why change it? Why try to breach containment? Right? What if you aren't? But for me, I guess, I was never happy with this. I felt, that's right, I said containment. I felt contained. And especially as a people pleaser, I would be so strictly in this containment because of I wanted to be the person that people wanted me to be and do the things that they wanted me to do, and I didn't want to do the things that made them unhappy. So I had a pretty intense, strict cage here that I called myself. but it didn't make me happy. So I wanted to break it. I wanted to break free of this. But, in this process of breaching this and breaking free and being vulnerable, I'm realizing a couple things, a couple struggles that are coming my way, and a couple of those things are I'm realizing that my vulnerability will make people uncomfortable. I think we're very used to, once there's any kind of crack or contradiction in your worldview and your idea of yourself and the world around you, we panic and we shut down, or we double down on whatever incorrect philosophy we have. I don't want to say incorrect, but just whatever philosophy we have. We might go, we'll build it up, we'll bandage it, we'll make it like tighter than it was before, as to not crack again. And basically what I'm experiencing right now is a bit of a, okay, I can't talk while also holding this, a bit of a vulnerability relapse, where I'm kind of something happened that made me feel like I should not be vulnerable, and I'm kind of climbing back into my cage. I'm kind of doing this, really. I'm bandaging up, and but I'm trying not to do that. I'm actively trying not to do that. So it actually took me a little, this is very nerve-wracking to do. This is really, really nerve-wracking to do like this right now, because I'm feeling like I'm retreating into my containment to keep myself safe. But that doesn't make me happy, and so I'm actively resisting that. Being vulnerable, and especially deconstructing a self that you've created through people pleasing, is going to make people uncomfortable. It will make people question themselves. It might even crack that containment. It'll remind them of a time when they were punished for being vulnerable. And they'll get this idea of, you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to do what you just did. You're not supposed to reach containment, because I'm not supposed to. I was told not to. I was punished for doing so. And as I deconstruct my people-pleasing self, I'm realizing I'm going to, well, because I didn't do this when I was younger, I never found the people who I got along with, because I was always someone else. I wasn't showing my true self, and so I would waste time on relationships that I'm not even compatible in. But I've learned that there are people that are like me, that are like my amorphous blob of a self, like that. And in the process of deconstructing my people pleasing, I'm going to be losing friends. I'm going to be realizing who I actually get along with. I'm going to scare people, I think, with my vulnerability. My openness is going to change dynamics. Whatever dynamic was had, if I'm open, new information comes in, and dynamics change. But I don't think that dynamics are meant to be static, right? The idea of marriage is a terrifying thing to be like, yep, we're gonna be together and the same, and we're gonna change the same, and we're not gonna grow apart, because I just don't think that's realistic. And several people have told me of the idea of like making it, really trying to make it work, or hiding certain parts of yourself, not being truly vulnerable, for some greater means of like, I don't know, like keeping a relationship. If you're married, you have kids, it's like, well, maybe you do work it out. Maybe you do suppress a certain part of yourself to make it work for the kids. Maybe you dull your sparkle. But if I keep that in, if I'm withholding information, like if I'm not being authentic, are you even talking to me? Is it even a relationship between me and you? Like, yeah, it's new information might change dynamics, but I don't think dynamics should be static. I guess I was also thinking of if I could even truly be vulnerable on the internet, if I can't tell personal stories. Obviously, it's not right to tell my personal stories because other people did not consent to this. But so like without knowing any information, it's like I could just be taking the wrong lesson from whatever events have happened. Obviously, everything is subject to change, and how I think about things are subject to change. But that does feel like what happened in my life feels like it was a test. It was an example of how being vulnerable can make people uncomfortable, and how it can change dynamics. But if I really want to find people who I feel happy around and I feel myself with, then I'm gonna have to just keep being vulnerable. And hopefully I can breach containment. And this guy's still here, right? This form is still here. And I can kind of jump back into it whenever I want, if I need to, for survival reasons. I don't want to be stuck in it. So this was just, I wanted to do this. Obviously, this is all for myself. This whole channel so far is just for. I mean, yes, I would like people to relate, but this is for myself as well. Exposure therapy. So I don't want to go back into my cage. Of course, there's things. It's always nuanced, and there's things to learn. And yeah, it's never black and white. But yeah, I would like to continue being vulnerable